Hello and a very warm welcome to The Real Talk. How's your day so far? How's the weekend going? Thank you for making time to join us. We are coming to you. We are coming to you from Mythos Boutique Hotel in Kiyovu. We are live on the Rwanda television channel on YouTube. We would love you to share the link to the program so that people can watch the interview. We have an amazing guest. He's the oldest teenager in Rwanda. I know you're dying to know who's that. Let's meet our guest. Welcome to The Real Talk. My name is Jackie Lumbasi and our guest is Albert Rudatsimburwa.
Yes.
Don't ask me how long it took to practice, to get that pronunciation right.
You know, when I was young, it was always a problem because it's such a long...
it's such a long name. Did you ever come up with a short form?
Ruda.
Ruda.
That's what people would say, but not me. I wouldn't take the short. No. I say I'm not short enough. Yeah. I shouldn't shorten my name.
The name as
you know,
well.
I'm the shortest at home in my family. You know, so I didn't want to shorten my name.
Exactly. There was no need to shorten any further.
But then also with the look I have, you know, and with my hair and all that. People would ask me, are you from Madagascar? Yeah. You know, because they have also the name Raza Fimbahini and Ratsiraka and stuff like that.
Yes.
Oh, Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka as well.
There was a time that I was looking for a job when I was in university. So I wanted to work on the side, you know, to get me some money to pay my studies and all that. So I found a proposal at the embassy of Sri Lanka, you know, to drive. To be the driver for the ambassador's wife, actually. So the first interview, because they had problems between Tamil and Sinhalese inside Sri Lanka and all that. Yeah. So they say, are you sure they have no connections with the Indian or, you know? I said, no, really? No, you look like Sri Lankan, you know? Yeah. But I've been in different...
Did you get the job?
I eventually had, and it was a good time, by the way. They treated me very well, very decently, very nice. It was a good relationship, and we talked with the ambassador.
You are quite exotic. Like every time I think of you, I'm like, this man is such an exotic being. It's a blend of everything.
Yes.
Places, cultures, races. Like you're a whole.
Somehow it's also the story of my people, because, you know, Rwandan, my generation, we became refugees, and then it was going around the world.
That's
you know?
True, yeah.
You know, like even this kind of...
Went, you picked something.
Like even this experience, I was telling you, I've been in different places. Yeah. Like in Arab countries, people would tell me, Alhamdulillah, and I say, no, but hey, I don't speak, you know. Yes. And they say, you go to Europe, now you don't want to speak your own language anymore. Yeah. And I say, I swear I am not. But even in Ethiopia, I had to prove that I was not Ethiopian. They want to send me to the front line. That was back in the 80s, you know. And I had to prove that...
And I'm sure the same would happen to you if you landed in Somalia.
I went to Eritrea with the Rwandan delegation when they and I was with the Rwandan delegation, but they will tell me, and I said, but no, they thought I wanted to come to have a free drink somewhere. I'm with the Rwandans, you know. So that has been my life anyway.
And then there was a time you had long hair and a long beard.
Of course,
I'm sure it made matters worse.
Yeah. Like I was a Cuban spy in Zaire, you know. With the funniest thing, there was a time I had a club here in Kigali. And I had the club, and it was also a photo gallery for people that we grew up looking up at. You know, like so there was a big poster of Che Guevara, and then one day the poster fell down, and so one of the workers went to my wife to tell her, you know, the photo of the boss fell off the wall. And she said, the photo of the boss?
My husband's photo is not in the club.
And then she told me that, and I had a big... So all of this time, this guy thought that I had created a big post of me to put on the wall, you know? All of this time, you know, and
there must have been such a striking resemblance. Then.
No, but she called me immediately. Well, you know, it's the beard, And of course, he was our hero. So
No, he was, yeah. Now, you know what, Albert? Let's go back to where all this began.
yes.
Yes, tell us where you were born. Tell us about your parents, because your parents gave you this look that
Sure.
would place you in any country
And not just
you
the
would
look.
survive, you know? Not just the look, but everything. So let's go back to where your story began.
I was born in Nyanza before the independence, when everything went cuckoo. And actually, I think I must be among the very first to inaugurate the hospital or where the maternity
Where
of
you were born,
Nyanza.
of Nyanza.
Yes, yes, before me. My brothers, I'm the youngest of the family. My brothers didn't enjoy that privilege.
Where
you know?
were they born? At home?
No, I think so. Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And so I lost my umbilical cord in a few. We used to live in Ruhango, so it's in the same area. And then my parents fled they fled the first acts of genocide in 61, and then we in the independence founders in Burundi, we were refugees.
They fled and went to Burundi.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, just for everyone to know, my dad was Belgian. He had come to Rwanda to work for the Belgian administration until he really found out that they were exploiting and abusing the
I wanted
the
to tell
Rwandans.
that story.
Yeah.
There's the story of your father before he married your mom and having been employed by the administration. He jailed your father, your grandfather,
Yes.
his future father-in-law.
Yes.
Tell us that story.
Yes, they had in fact made up a story about my grandfather. Some people who were pro-Belgian, while my grandfather was connected to in fact, the
king?
Well, the Rwandan system of that time. In fact, yes, it was the King Rudahigwa. So he was. They were related and all that. So anyway, what happened is that my dad was giving, in fact, the assignment to lock him up.
Find that man and lock him up.
I find that man and lock him up, and when he came and had wanted to process, he found a lady a young girl, by the way, she was still a young girl that was opposing that.
She was the daughter of the man here.
Yeah, she was the daughter, and she said, no way, this could not be, especially that for her, the father was, you know, something.
Yeah.
And then after a while, apparently, because I've been told this, and by the way, this is not, my parents never told me that story. I got it from other people.
Who told you?
Oh my God, like
Yes.
uncles and stuff like that. And I have different
And
stories.
their friends, maybe.
And
And you have different accounts of that
different
story.
accounts, but it's just another side of the camera, because it was always the same story. At least it was consistent. So, and eventually my dad made his own investigation, found out that the guy had been in fact cornered in the stoop, and it was not him.
Oh yeah.
And so they were, at that time you had Rwandans who were pro-Belgian, who thought that these guys you should not fight them, and others who could see, because you see, Rwanda was not a colony, so it was not supposed to be. It was a protectorate. So the mission of the Belgian actually was normally to accompany, to modernize the Rwandan institutions. But they were interfering, and as we know now, that in fact they really developed something to destroy. Actually,
they did. Yeah.
So
even if the intentions were good in the beginning, yeah, towards
well,
the end, things changed.
I don't think, but I'll come back to in my own stories, because for me, there is also a difference from a racist perspective, but Europeans could not even consider or thinking that Africans could have a civilization. You know?
They never saw that.
They never saw that. For them, they were coming to Africa to civilize the savages. So Rwanda was always something that they had not anticipated to find something. People, society organized and all that, and having their own civilization, you know? Especially because people having even their own God, you know?
Yeah.
And not waiting for so to the point that the Belgians had to change, because in the whole of East Africa, they had come and to convert the savages to Mungu. They were talking about Mungu. Here, it was not picking. Until
they were not buying the Mungu easily.
No, because people had already Imana. So why you want to bring Mungu when we have Imana? That is how, now in the first Bibles that they had printed, eventually they changed Mungu into Imana. Just to say, no, Imana, it's who? It's we who, and by the way, Imana, it's written here, and that's where they put the Bible in Kinyarwanda, you know, because that is, so that is where Banyarwanda started to move, because when they say, okay, it's Imana, okay, then maybe we didn't know that much about Imana, and they know more.
Yeah, they're not teaching us more about Imana.
So that's the abuse now, and
okay.
Now to come back on the parents, so my dad, after investigating, decided to free my grandfather, and then decided this system, no, it cannot. This was so much brainwashing, but also abusing.
And abusing.
And I think, no, I don't think, I'm not very sure, and I can really say that my father came from a very decent family. People who were decent, you know, and that is why he could not. He said he decided no. If that's the way you want to treat people, he gave them back the keys, and he said, but I'm not going back to Europe. I'm going to settle here, and he became a Muturaje and started, and then asked to marry my mom. Yeah. So
and they went through the cultural process
the whole
of getting
thing.
married.
He had cattle by then, so. Otherwise, he knew that those kids would not be his, you know. My mother would have children, but he wouldn't be there. So he gave all the cattle, and then he settled there and was the Muturaji. Yeah. Until things got really cuckoo. And
he had to leave.
And then even Westerners or Belgians told him, listen, dude, if you don't get out of here, because on your back there is a big poster called UNAR, which was the party of the nationalistic party that were against, that wanted the independence. So they told them, you are a walking target, because people have,
You've been marked already.
And I remember there was sometimes that I asked my parents when I was a kid, sometimes I asked them about things in my memories, to ask them about, I could see a card coming at home, and then they told me, how do you even remember those things? Because they say, that was the guy who would become the first president of Rwanda, Kayibanda, who was coming to tell my parents, the Tutsi now, it's finished, it's over.
Oh, goodness.
Your time is gone.
He used to come home to threaten your people.
Yes, yes, or just to tell them, just to mock them, you know. Well, even when that's how I got to know that that not just his because he still had contacts with some Belgians, of course, you know. But they told him also. They say, you know, you are walking. What we hear, you better get out of here. So apparently he started first by moving the family, and because he had some friends, so that was my grandmother, but my grandfather had died already. So that was my grandmother and some younger sisters to my mom.
He moved them to Burundi.
To Burundi. And I remember that because he still had friends with some Belgian guys.
They helped, huh?
They helped him in the sense that he would just move my grandmother like if it was his own wife, and then the other ones were her children, you know, stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
And then, but I remember that we, at the time, it went a bit cuckoo, and we four brothers, and the one I come after, he stayed in Rwanda in school a bit longer. That my dad had to come back to pick him up. Things were hot. Things were.
By the time your dad came back for him, things were hot.
No, they were hot. So he had to also wait sometimes just to make sure that yeah. And then so then independence found us in Bujumbura, and then like I think around '64. That's when I think he had the decoder for Rwanda, but he didn't have a decoder for Burundi. So he decided that he would not stay in Burundi because he had even tried to go to Tanzania, but it was.
So where did you go next?
So we went to Belgium.
You know, you said something to me, Albert. You had never, in your family, when you were growing up with your mom and your dad, and as a child, you never saw the race thing. Like, there was never a difference in your household because everyone spoke in Rwanda. All the visitors, even after you had gone to Europe, that you housed were Kinyarwanda speaking, they were Wanyarwanda speaking Kinyarwanda. You never saw a difference until you went to school.
Correct. Correct.
So
the only world I was living in was the Rwandan world.
Was the Rwandan world?
Yes. So and when you're a kid, you don't see races, as long as you don't see other races, you know. So and as a kid, people will find you in your house, but you don't go to see the world. So it's only when we eventually got into Belgium and when I started to go to school. Because even at home, of course, it was always full of people. Even when we reached there, I just remember one thing that I only started to sleep in my own bed when the day I left my parents' house. When I went to live on my own. But before that, it was always...
Then your bed always had somebody.
There was always
There was always a relative or a friend
friends
in the house.
In the house, you know. So they were all, not just one, you know. So yeah.
That could also mean a lot of Rwandan families that came to Belgium those days went through your home.
Not families. There were people alone. I mean, these were like students. People who made it to Belgium because they had a scholarship or they found a way somewhere. Okay. So and that is why they were. It was because my parents' home was one of the few places where you had a home, where you had parents, where you had the level of parents. So they were like their kids. Yeah. So that is why they would always come, and my parents would. Of course, because that is the way we were. It was not just my parents. Actually, there were like 2 or 3 other families in the region because there were former chiefs also from Rwanda, Kawajema and Zinjiro. These were families where you had mom and dad. So even it was the same situation in those families. Because I even visited them myself, and I would meet other people there, and we would stay there, you know. And so that was so because these were like the few centers, you know, where you would have a parent or families, and then. Girls or boys who came to study, they would pass there, stay there.
When I think about it now, I think it explains why a lot of people call themselves each other brother and sister.
Absolutely.
Because somehow they ended up in this family and were raised or were accepted like the children of that house.
True, but then again, I think also because Rwandans sometimes maybe don't realize. But because you see, we are one of the few countries in Africa that have not been created by a colonial system. You know, Kenya was created by English. Yeah. Not by Kenyans.
Yeah, no.
Uganda the same, Tanzania the same, Congo the same, South Africa the same, but not Rwanda. Rwanda, we inherited it from our ancestors. That was only, so the Rwandans, and we're in the middle of Africa. So that tells you, I mean, if you just think rationally about it, that means that for the last 2,000 years, nobody came here and nobody left. So whoever we are today, we are just descending from the people who started the very first Rwanda 2,000 years ago.
With no one to learn from, no culture to borrow. Like
well, yes, no, you can borrow from your near neighbors, but who you are was a creation of the Rwandans. You see, but of course we would be next to Bashi or next to Banyankore or next to Barundi. Even who are the Barundi? I really believe that there is a lot of chance that they're Banyarwanda actually, you know, and I have it's another whole show because I can explain why
true.
I think
I guess we will have another interview for that.
Yeah. But you see, Banyarwanda, sometimes they don't realize because, of course, like all the Bantu, our system was oral. We're not really a written thing. So we didn't have very much. It's like a clay pot when you hit it on an iron pot. And you see, the European was iron because it's written, it's material, it's, you know, it's all different. So sometimes you don't realize that who we are today, all the Banyarwanda, we definitely must be related. Because nobody came to you know, so whoever we are, it's because we just multiplied. From
there was one source.
Yes, and it's only now that we started to move around. Because imagine, Jackie, think about it. We might have been amongst the very last people on this planet to meet the white man. Oh. Because he only arrived in Rwanda in 1882, 83, just before Berlin. And imagine, to get here, there were no roads from Dar es Salaam to here. You see? And imagine the distance, you know? He has to go through the savannah, the jungles, blah, 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 and get here. And then when he got here, and you see, the nice thing is that they even wrote about it. They were impressed. But they were also impressed by the fact that our ancestors were not impressed by them. Because everywhere else, people would say, Bwana, whatever.
Don't worship them.
Yeah, yes. But here, it's okay. Get in.
Yeah.
And they were not impressed. And the very first guy wrote it down, by the way.
So they were not impressed.
Yeah. And then,
let
me tell you, let me even give you a detail that maybe the public might not know. People, let it be known that Europeans in general, Westerners, they have a problem with physical hygiene. They don't wash them. They don't take showers and stuff like that, like Africans would do. Let me tell you that, you know. So
they don't have a very close relationship with water.
No. And even for centuries, these guys would develop powders and perfumes not to stink, you know, because they wouldn't go for a bath or a shower, you know. So that would do it like that, and they would have all kinds of stuff, you know. If you see those movies, they reproduce in the 14th, 15th centuries of Europe. People don't go for a bath.
No.
So imagine now a European who already has that culture, but he's coming all the way from Dar es Salaam, and there's no train, there's no highway. He has to walk all the way from Dar es Salaam to come and get in the middle of Africa and meet people they had never seen. So imagine the first meeting. By the way, the first meeting was not in Rwanda. They met outside Rwanda because they had told this guy, von Goetzen, that and he had asked the slave traders and stuff like that, I want to go in the, they told him, there is a kingdom there in the middle of Africa. You don't just get in. You ask, you request, because otherwise they won't get you in. And that is how they went through another kingdom next door, which was Karagwe, and through the king of Karagwe, who had already some relation with or some contacts with the people at the coast. So he sent a message to Rwanda. Then the king of Rwanda, who was Rwabugiri at that time, Kigeli Rwabugiri, it matched with some things that he had been feeling and having some dreams about. And So suddenly,
maybe some future plans that he had.
Well, it was something that he could not really explain, you know. So when his cousin, who was the king of Karagwe, sent him a message to say, "Cousin, there's some guys coming and they want to meet you, and I think you should meet them because it's something different." And Rwanda could feel. So he sent an advance party. But they had already all the intelligence of who they would meet, the Rwandans, you know. So they knew that
they had been briefed properly.
They had already, yeah. So they knew, by the way, that the guy was not taller than my glass of juice here. So they sent like the tallest guys just to make sure Namasunzu and the spears, you know.
To intimidate him.
Just to impress him, you know, they knew that physically they impress.
Yeah.
You know, they were aware of that. They were not like the way they were accidentally. No. That had been something that they've been working for generations. You know, this is what the Banyarwanda. So now, when they eventually have to meet in Karagwe, the nice thing is that he made an account of that, and we know also. The very first thing when they met, they say, so they picked up and say, wow, they've never had that, you know. And the guy said, I was thinking, and thinking, and they expressed it, you know. They say, so he said it himself, you know.
He was thinking.
He was thinking, you know.
Not shy away from showing him that you filthy.
While those guys had washed in the morning, had put some mafuta, you know, and they would be, you know, and they would meet, and when they met him, you know, so and it was going up to their noses. They're like, you know, that was the first meeting.
Wow, what a beautiful story. As you can see, we brought somebody on air that has a lot of information. Albert has taken time to just study the history of our country, the history of our continent, and for me it's such a pleasure to be able to bring you this story. I do hope that you've shared the link. We're live on RTV and live on Rwanda Television YouTube channel. We will be back in a short while. Welcome back. We're pleased to have you with us on The Real Talk. When you find time, please visit at Hotel Mythos on Twitter. Hotel Mythos is on different social media platforms as well. The Atmosphere Restaurant is almost being done. They were renovating it, almost being done. When you find time, please visit Atmosphere Restaurant at Mythos Hotel. My name is Jackie, and our guest is Albert. Albert, I would love you to give us the end. How did that meeting end? And then we want to meet Albert, the entrepreneur, the musician and entertainer, the radio and TV entrepreneur. You're so many things in one.
The oldest teenager, you mean?
You know, the oldest teenager.
The end of story is very interesting also because it gives you also an idea who the Banyarwanda were. So they met and they were on a mission. By the way, the guy who came, who was leading the delegation,
the Belgian delegation,
the Rwandan delegation, was one of King Rwabugiri's sons. He called Sharangabo. So, in fact, they met and they told him that it was okay, that they will send a message where he had to go, what day, what time, to start to enter Rwanda. You see, because people need to understand, at that time, Rwanda was a defined surface. In this region, Rwanda was the powerhouse.
Okay.
Now, and Banyarwanda, by the way, should understand something. It was, of course, because they had strong institutions, and they had a permanent army, even with garrisons at the borders, with an alarm system that would alert if anything was coming to Rwanda. That is why the slave traders never got in. That's why they could even tell anyone who wanted to come in, listen, if you have to go there, be aware of this and that. Even Stanley got chased away. Now, Banyarwanda should also maybe understand one thing, is that Banyarwanda didn't have a superior armory. They didn't have better spears or better arrows or better swords, you know. What they had more than anybody else was the number. Now, at that time of Rwanda, the population of Rwanda was 1.2 million. For surface, that was 3 times the size of today. But half of it was forest, because there were only 1.2 million. But it took us 2,000 years to have 1.2 million. Most Africans don't understand or don't realize, actually, that sub-Saharan Africa, we were compared to Eurasia, that means North Africa, Mediterranean, West Europe, Middle East, extreme East, you know. That part of the world had been, for the last 3,000 years, the most populated place in the world. It was so populated that it was normal even to own people. You know, slavery and feudal systems, that's normal. That's the norm, you know? I mean, Julius Caesar, I did Latin and Greek, and he wrote in his memoir of the wars that he did to attack Gaul, that he had consumed 2 million slaves, 2 million slaves, and this is 45 BC, before Christ. So 2 million slaves, it was normal to use 2 million slaves. Rome was a multi-million city, mega city that was fed by Egypt and Carthago. 2,000 years later, we as Rwandans, we only had 1.2 million. At the same time, Burundi was the next powerhouse. They had 800,000. To give you comparison, at the same time, Shaka Zulu and the Zulu nation, they were only 490,000. 490,000. So the might of Rwanda was because they had been thinking about the people. You know, and everything in our language. You know, when I say, Jackie, uraho, are you? Uraveho, when we leave, please remain alive. Tonight, I would say, uramuche, please wake up in the morning. In the morning when we meet, waramutse, wow, what a relief, you know. So everything is about life. And so that is why Banyarwanda, as one nation, everything was about, even if I come and want to marry your let's say your daughter. When I come and say, Turashaka Mawoko, we need arms. When we say we need arms, because we need people. So everything was about we need people. So in my clan, we would come into your clan, and together we would have children, but they're now in my clan. But as Banyarwanda, we would do all of that. And that is why we would, by the way, that is why we don't have monogamy. But it's not about a superiority of men on women. No. That is like working together to just have people. Because the first thing that was important for Banyarwanda were the people.
The numbers, as you said.
Because that was the only way we would make a difference. But you see, that is what Africans most of the time don't realize, is that for us, life meant something different. Because life was so precious. You see? You
didn't take it lightly. You didn't take it for granted.
No. That's why you say, Uramuche, please wake up in the morning.
I want to see you in the morning.
I want to see you again in the morning, you see? And Uraveho. Because for us, life was not a luxury. That was something we had to live for. But it's not like in Eurasia. All of these European countries, they didn't care about life. They didn't care. Yeah. They had so many people that some of them were, and that is why they created religions. Because with religion, they could tell people, Jackie, don't worry. The best is still to come. You'll get into heaven after your death. You will resurrect. You know, that's why they invented religions. We didn't have that kind of religions. Imana will be Imana, that's it, you know. So how the story ends is that they tell him to go, that they would come to Rwanda, the delegation. So at the end of the meeting, this guy von Goetzen says, wait a minute before you go, and goes into his packs and all that, and takes some things that he used to give to black people, things like mirrors and
snacks.
Not snacks, but mirrors and
Chains?
Yeah, or whatever. The stupid things for and the Rwandans looked at him and they say, we didn't come for this. And the guy was like, what? So it was the king of Karagwe to ask Sharanga would say, he will think he might take offense, at least, you know.
Yeah, just take the gifts.
Yes. So what happened? So what happened is that actually Sharangabo said, okay, just let me take this. And it took like, I think, one. But the German guy.
He wrote it.
He wrote it down. He said,
what did he say exactly? What did he write?
Those guys, public servants, they came, you cannot corrupt them. Like anywhere else, people would start battling at that moment and fight for whatever.
Fighting for these flimsy things that are being given.
And these guys, they just say, hell no, we didn't come for that. And then because the other guys asked them to at least, you know, and he said he took just a little thing that had no significance and off they go. And that is how the whole myth then when he came to Rwanda started about Rwanda. Like these people, wow, where did they come from?
I think he never really liked their pride, because all this is a result of a people knowing themselves, accepting themselves and being proud of who they are.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, if Rwandans are beautiful, it is not coincidence. They did it. They organized themselves to become the most beautiful people they thought they could be, you know? The way they would interbreed their cattle is the way what they did even to themselves, and that is why they would everything in our culture, you know, in our language. If you are my cousin, that means we can have children together, and so it remains in the family. That's what it means. Not my sister,
your cousin,
but my cousin.
On the father's side, the mother's side, or it doesn't matter?
It's cousin. When it's cousin, you know? Yeah. So, but you see,
so you really did whatever it took to keep this within the community.
Absolutely. In everything. Even the way we look, blah, 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 that would be the mother's, yeah.
Oh my God.
And Germans, they were the first one here to come. And that is how they said, this way of thinking and doing that cannot be purely African. And that's when they started this stupid theory about the Hamitic hypothesis. And thinking that there were some people who came from the north, but eventually from Europe, and brought that to the savages. And that's how then they said then other guys came who were more savage or more stupid, and then they said these are the Bantus. And you see, actually Bantu, actually Rwandans are very Bantu, to the point that it's even in their language, because they call themselves Abantu. You see, so Rwandans, Burundians, they call themselves Abantu. So and when you see the complexity of the language, the strict grammatical system of Kinyarwanda language and the vocabulary, the richness of that shows you that must be a very ancient system. So that means that it indicates much more that actually Bantu civilization is much more from this region than anywhere else. Because the more you get from here, the more that thing I was explaining is diluted. Less rich vocabulary, less strict grammatical forms and all that. Yeah.
So even if it will be Bantu, the other side.
Yes, but of course we have a lot of things in common with it. That means that also it's ancient because people had to have the time to get where. You see, the Shona in Zimbabwe, they say Munhu also, you know. Even in Zulu, they will say Ubunhu. Yeah, it's only now here that we get heretic, because now we start doing things that that don't make sense, you know, because you don't understand our language anymore. So, you know, you cannot have a saying, say Rwanda Nziza. It cannot. It's impossible.
What do you mean it's impossible?
It's impossible.
But Nziza is it's Kinyarwanda. Nziza is Kinyarwanda.
Listen, if I tell you, Jackie, he is coming to the show, what are you going to tell me? You're going to tell me, no, it's she is coming. So yeah. Rwanda cannot be Nziza. Rwanda is Rwiza. Just like Rwanda, you see? Rwanda, Ruiza, Rwanda, Rwiza. It can never be Rwanda Nziza. If you say Nziza, it would be a cow or chicken. Inkoko Nziza, Inka Nziza. But not Rwanda, please. You know, and you're confusing people. If you say it's poetry, no. It's someone who doesn't know. And you cannot have a word say ubumunu. It cannot.
What is it supposed to be?
Ubunu. Ubunu. Because people don't get...
So what then is ubumunu?
It doesn't exist. It's just a composition of people who don't understand Kinyarwanda. Because people think that umuntu is a word. Because they write it always like one word.
Yeah, because umunu ni mtu.
Yes, but mu. You will...
Muntu.
Yes, but
in my mother tongue, it's muntu.
Yes, but mu.
Mu.
Mu. You will use mu for a lot of things. Mu, even in Kinyarwanda, I'll give you muntu, mugabo, mugore, muganda, and in plural is ba, right?
Yeah.
While the nu, you will use it also with kinu, hanu, kunu. So the real word there is nu. And you guys have forgotten what nu means, ontu.
So you think the Kinyarwanda we're speaking is diluted?
It's not just what we are speaking. Your biggest problem is the writing. Because if you write everything like, you see, the empower, if you say nakupenda, and you write it like if it was a word, how do you file nakupenda in a database? When it's mimi, na, kupenda. These are three words. And in English, you will say, I love you. So those three words, you have where to put them in a database, right? And love will go into a chapter with lovely, with lovers and all that. Sindio?
Yeah.
So why would you write nakupenda in one word? Because in English, they empower you to think that you as a subject have an action on an object.
So you want nakupenda to be separated
so
into three words?
So penda will go into a database
on its own.
In a chapter with mupenzi.
Pendo.
Exactly.
Upendo.
Exactly. Because you see, you write the way you speak. But writing is supposed to be a system that reveals to what you see to reveal the data. Okay? If you put everything in one sentence, you don't reveal anything. You don't show the way, the intellect of the people who invented this language.
If you put everything together, everything in one sentence.
You see,
if you say... You've taken time, and I see you do this even a lot on your social media platform, you've taken time to emphasize the importance of this language not being intoxicated, and you try your best to teach us the right words, pronunciation. Is it bearing fruit?
No, for the moment, I'm still just only tickling. You know, I just want to, because you see, people never thought about it. People never thought about it. They've just swallowed it. You see, the writings was not made by us. And let me tell you, ever since the Protestant churches in Europe and all that, the rule is for Christianity is that you need to print the Bible in the vernaculars of the people you are going to convert. So here they didn't want to lose the war against Islam, because Islam comes and it's in Arabic and everybody speaks Arabic, it's fine. But what Christians used to do it in Latin until the Protestants said, no, we need to do. So they've been listening to us because they wanted to print Bibles. That's the reason.
It was just for the Bibles.
That's for that. But why? They have no affinity with us. Why would they learn our languages? They wanted to baptize us and to convert us to Christianity. So they had to do it in the rules. Now, we write the way we speak, but we don't reveal the intellects of our people who started those languages. You don't see. And that is why all of us, first of all, when you cannot create a serious database, you are excluded of AI. You use AI from other people's systems that have invented their own AI. Mm-hmm. And you see, we are the only people who are excluded it, because all the people who have their own writing systems, Hebrew, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Arab, they are in AI because they've been writing this stuff since ever. Us, we use other people's things. We don't, our languages are excluded. We don't realize that our people are becoming Creole because the intellectual stuff will do it in English or French. We don't do it in Kinyarwanda. Because, and now we're struggling and inventing things because we don't see, because you see, my mother, who never went to school to learn Kinyarwanda, the way she was raised has a deeper perception of the blueprint of the language than you who went to school.
To learn the language.
To learn the language also, you see. Because if you don't write correctly all the data, and that, you know, sometimes in Kinyarwanda, when people write, they wonder, where do I stop, by the way? Because everything is connected. You know, there is no space. And sometimes they wonder, you know, I mean, he is afraid that we will not see him. 9 words. Those 9 words, we find them in a dictionary, lexicon, database. Kinyarwanda, aratinya, ko tutazamona. And you think, yeah, that's the way. What you don't get, you have a loss of data. You have a loss of data. I mean, a is he. Ra is tinya, afraid. Ko, that. Tu, we. Taza, will not. Mu, him. Bona, even us. It's 9 words. But you don't see them as 9 words. You don't see. So that has...
So 3 words.
3 words. And what you don't get, it has an impact psychologically on you, on your brains, on your way of thinking. So you think more, you think more squarely in a foreign language than in your own language. And our ancestors would never be like that. They would never create a word. They would never say RwandaTV. Never. It is impossible.
So when do you think we started saying RwandaTV?
Because people don't know the language anymore. You see, I mean, you cannot. My parents would never say
RwandaTV.
Never.
They say RwandaTV.
It's only after 1962 that people say, you know, and the whole thing. Why I say that? I say if we have to decolonize our minds, when we have the uniqueness to have our own language, our own culture, it starts with that. It starts there. If you go to the border of Rwanda and Uganda, you're at the border, you see a signpost, and you see, and it's called Chanika. Here you write with C and Y. Yeah. And 10 meters further, it's the same people, it's the same language, but 2 different colonizers. They write KY. KY. So no one has ever had the intellectual, you know, initiative to say, one of us is wrong. And
then, you know, in Kenya it will be CH.
And why?
Yeah.
And why? Somebody must be wrong. Somebody must be wrong. And you see most of the, so that's why I say people have swallowed things and they don't question anything. Because I don't think that the Europeans did a bad job. I think they did a good job. It's just for us to mature it. Because I'm fine with that. With the way the characters, personally, I studied Latin and Greek. So I understand also all the stuff that they didn't.
How many languages you speak? Why did you have to study Latin and Greek?
No, that was the good thing. I was the last born, so you know I I was privileged because everybody would take care of me.
Yeah.
My brothers and my parents.
Yeah.
And everyone else.
Whatever your parents were not able to give your older siblings, your siblings were now able to give that to you.
Yes, and I was really like the Benjamin, because I come 11 years after the one who is that I so I was really spoiled. I would say nicely spoiled, and much appreciation, by the way. So the good thing is that my mom would tell me Migani, which are
she did
everything about Rwanda.
Yeah.
But then my dad too, you know, and he knew also a lot. And then he would give me also the rest of the world. Like I knew most of European history or world history before even reaching school, you know.
Oh, wow.
So that gave me also the interest to go into Latin and Greek. Also because these were also funding things that it's like it's somewhere the equivalent of Rwandan education when you are in good families where this gives you things to become a decent and rational thinker also, you know.
That's true.
And but especially because then I went to the people who actually invented the systems that we are utilizing today, you see. And there also I see...
And you also learned a lot from there.
Yes,
you picked a lot.
And you see, now also I found out after all, you know, that the systems that Europeans left here in Africa are not exactly the same.
But they remained with the other side.
No, because what they want at their side are just creators and not followers. Here, how good you are, your level actually you don't question. There, it's and you know I must say I've been lucky throughout, because they put me in a Jesuit from all my school was in Jesuit schools, and Jesuit at the end of the day, they don't care about if you ever, they don't want even to convert you to become a priest. In my promotion, we started we were 160 in different classes. Only one guy at the end of the secondary school, only one guy became a priest. Oh. They don't care Jesuit. What they want you to be is the best. Whatever you do,
they want you
be
to be
the
the
best. Yeah. Even if
Albert, let's have a look at 6Qs. Now, from the look of things, we might have part 2 of the Albert conversation, because I feel like indeed we've just scratched on the surface. So let's have a look at Albert's 6Qs, and then we will have to continue this conversation next week. Welcome back. Let's see Albert's 6Qs. Albert, these are quick questions and easy questions. Number 1, do you love to cook? And between cooking at home, hosting people, cooking for yourself, hosting people and take away, what would you go for as your first option?
Cooking.
Cooking. Do you do it when you're alone at home or only when you have guests?
Yeah.
Strictly?
For me, it's part of, like I could be drawing or playing music. It's part of, of course, I don't cook to eat. I just like the you know, the colors, the smell.
You just cook to admire it.
Yeah, some stuff, because I luckily grew up in a world where the whole world was present. So I've lived with people from Caribbean, from the US. You know, if you want a real burger, ask me. I'll make you a serious.
Ooh la la.
You know, and all kind of stuff.
Love that.
Yeah.
Lasagna and
oh my
yes.
Oh my God! You know, like even like a steak with champignon and cream and 3 different cheeses to get into that. You know.
You do all that.
Yes, but because it's just the same as writing a song or playing a song or drawing, or I used to do that. By the way, some of the graphic stuff I've done haven't been doing. But even the cooking, it's now once in a while when I just want to to do something different, you know, and I would go and buy different flavors. But also, you know, it's the whole experience. I've lived with so many peoples.
Yeah,
you know, people from Guadeloupe, from Haiti, from Louisiana, from Texas, Arabs.
So indeed, you've tried all types of cuisines.
Yes. Cape Verde, you know, and yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite music genre?
Black. Yeah, as long as it's black.
As long as it's black, Afro.
Black.
Oh, black.
Black.
So what would be black? What's your favorite black song then? That's my third question.
Black song. That's a difficult one because I've been, so many things have moved me, you know. By the way, the very, 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 very first time I got outside the Rwandan stuff was actually blues, because suddenly, wow, the notes were the same, the rhythm was different, but the notes and the sound was azinanga with Texas blues, with Louisiana blues, and then at a certain point I went to West Africa. And so that would have, so the song, and you know, I've been playing in my life also. I've been really professionally busy into the creative industry and music and
we will look at that part next week.
Okay.
Next week we'll talk about you, the creative.
I can't have a favorite.
A favorite. Okay, and then your favorite destination, the place you've been to around the world, and you say, this place I would love to come back someday, go back someday, and if it's Rwanda, you'd never want to leave it.
But it is Rwanda. Yes. It is Rwanda. But there's a part in my life when, in '79, the very first time I reached a place called Masisi. Wow, that was, that blew my and I went to meet relatives there.
How was it?
And it's paradise, you know, like smooth hills and the grass and the people. I think God had created the universe. I went to rest there.
Oh, yeah. Wow. What's your favorite hobby?
My favorite hobby? Now, that's a very difficult one. I don't know. Really, I really don't know, Jackie. These are very difficult questions for me, because I touch everything that I don't know what would be one.
You don't know.
It's like I have like I have 26 children and I wouldn't know who's the favorite. You know, I have all of them. There's a reason why I love them. You know.
Wait, how many children do you have?
No. Did I know?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, no, how many children do you have? How many children do you have?
No, I have 5.
Okay.
Yes.
That you know?
Yeah, no, 5.
There could be others.
And I know that I don't have other children. Okay, let's be clear.
Okay.
Yes.
And lastly, what would you say to 20-year-old Albert?
To 20-year-old Albert?
Yes.
Keep it on. You're on the right way. So I would do it again.
You do it again.
Yes. Whatever I've done,
you would do it
again.
I would
do it again.
No regrets, no mistakes,
regrets.
Nothing.
Well, no regrets.
Albert, thank you so much for making time to join us.
Thanks.
And we will continue next week. So that was part 1 of the conversation with Albert, I don't even know what you call him, Rudatsimburwa. It's been such a pleasure for me to have this conversation. Please share the links that we have. Others follow that story. You join us next week for The Real Talk. It's been such a pleasure to have your company. God bless you.